Hey, everybody. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Hey, good morning, everybody. Sorry about that. I had to step out for a quick second. But I wanted to get the stream started so that everybody could get their notifications on, pop in, all that stuff. All right. Let's zoom out and take a look. So this is the price action. And good morning, Chump Sauce. Oh, these names. Too good. Good morning. Hope everybody had an amazing weekend. Daryl, good to see you. Been a minute. Haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing well. All right, so overnight opened here, pushed down, pushed up, went sideways, and then sold off. And originally, I was thinking that we had a range. So, like, I was drawing it like this when I came in. And then I moved it up slightly to here. And then when we came down to these levels, I drew it down here. And then it broke through, and then it came up, and then it broke down a little bit more. So then I went, okay, maybe it's right here. And then it just kept going. So when it didn't reverse here, at this point, when it kept going lower, I just kind of eliminated the idea of the range. I did draw one at one point down here as a possibility, but then we broke through again, and I just deleted it. So you had to be aware of the possibility of a range early, but it ended up not happening. And you could kind of see that we were just making lower highs. Like, this was the last attempt higher. We tried one here, but that was still a lower high, and it just kept going. So that's how the day looks. Early on, when it still looked like a range, there was 2 initial trade setups in here. And the reason that these are not ideal is because if you did have a range here, excuse me. If you did have a range here, you came down and you get a second entry long, which is nice because you have an uptrend here that doesn't have a new high. Then you have this downtrend and it gets a first entry long, pullback, it makes a new low there, and then gives you a second entry long with a bullish candle. It's reasonable, but it's basically just right in the middle of what would have looked like a range. So it's not an ideal setup. I don't love that, but it's there. And then it gives you actually a first entry, second entry short. That's a slightly lower high than this one. And at this point, it did look bearish. So if you took that short, there's reasons to like that. It does look like it's forming some sort of a downtrend here. But again, it's really just, you know, rejection at the EMA. It looks like it might make a low here, but it already made that new low. You don't know for sure, but you are expecting it to fill this gap, which is the brown. That's where we closed last week. So we are expecting that to get tapped. So if you took that, both of them are nice, but they're not like sure things or anything. They're just okay. Now, let's delete this. And now when we came down here, I drew this down channel, and it's pretty nice the way that this formed. Basically, you come up, you get a first entry, second entry short. I took this one. I almost marked it red, but I think it's a yellow only because you've got, even though it's kind of a triple test there off of last week's close, it's a perfectly bearish bar below the 21 EMA. The reason is you don't really have a confirmed downtrend yet. You don't have a third touch to really confirm the downtrend. It does look bearish. The only challenge is we just came off those lows. So if you zoom out real quick and you draw it, even if you draw it like this, off of like pretty much that low and here, that might be the lows of a range. So you don't know for sure that you're not just going to go higher here and that was the low of the range. So it gives you a little bit of pause there. So that's why it's not A+, but I would call it like B+ setup maybe A-. So decent. I liked it. I took it. And I got out somewhere down here. I forget exactly where I got out, but it was like somewhere down here, near the lows. Somewhere near the lows. Or no, sorry. I think I got out on my runner right there. One tick above that, just in case we were going to bounce. I think that's what I did. I'd have to check, but I posted the screenshot in the school community. Okay, so then we go down. What do we get here? First entry, second. Not really. It's kind of a second entry right there. Not really. Nothing really here. We reject. Come down. Move up. Really nothing in this. It kind of breaks through this trend line here. And then it goes down. There's a failure here, but I think it's risky. It kind of creates two legs down. Now, at this point right here, you made one leg down to a new low. But then you come up and you get a first entry, second entry short, lower high, below the EMA again. Room to the lows, might get another leg down. I think it's reasonable. Again, it's a little sideways right there. It's not perfect because we did already get the close outside new low. But there might be a wider pattern here because we kept going lower. So that's a nice one. Then we go up. First entry, this kind of inside bar, second entry, nothing really there. You could almost look at this like a visual second entry right here. You could kind of draw this. You could kind of look at this like two legs and then second entry there. But I wouldn't take that because the bar is not good. And then you do get a lower high that does qualify as a bearish enough bar. I just don't like how the stem pushes above the EMA there. I just don't love that. So I don't think you want to take it. You could argue that this is a lower high off of a possible trend line, but you know, I don't know. I think you're pushing your luck there. It's not really, because that's off of this high all the way up here. So yeah, you got 1, 2, 3 touches there. Do you really like want to take that? I don't think so, because the thing is, you might have some sort of a slightly wider pattern here. You know, like it kind of fits. Like it kind of fits. It's just not really a sure thing for me there. I just don't think you want to take that. So I'm not going to mark it, even though it's a nice looking lower high in hindsight. In real time, I just thought that it was sketchy. So I don't think you want to take it. Then you get a possible failure forming. You know, this is a second entry long. You are expecting that to go lower, but it doesn't set up really the right way. Doesn't set up. You don't get the right type of bar for it. Second entry short here, but signal bar is neutral. Closes inside this little channel. If this was a bearish bar, I would have said that that might be a decent one. Comes down. Let's see. Double bottom here. So you get this little move down. They're all first entries in there. Double bottom. First entry. Second entry short right here. Or sorry, right here. Sorry, second entry short right here. But it's really close to this trend line. So it's like, that's not really a close outside. You know, it's like you could easily just go like that and say, well, it's not really a close outside. And so this one, I didn't like anything in here because you could easily have drawn this very slightly wider like this. And none of this is convincing closes outside. So I don't think you want to take any of this. This lower high is tempting, but I don't think so. Then you get a second entry long, higher low. But you don't want a long right there because you might hit off this trend line. I drew this as a possible level. Looks like it didn't come into play. See if it... Oh, it came into play there. You got a triple test there. So that one's okay. I mean, if you took this as a triple test right here, 1, 2, 3, triple test, bearish bar, you know, you could argue for it. I think you're playing with fire a little bit there, but you could argue for it. You could argue for it. So I'll mark it, but I don't love it. Moves down, first entry, second entry long. You're not looking for one there. So at this point, you just got to sit and wait, because I think at this point we're looking sort of like we're in this consolidation zone. We broke out of this channel here, so I would say the most likely situation is make a new low here, but we might form a range. So I'm going to look at like this right here. Yeah, I was already done taking my trades before I started the stream. Yep. Yeah. Sometimes we'll take a trade on the stream if there's a really good setup, but I'm already good. I got this really nice one earlier with the runner, so I call it good. I only take like 1 to 4 trades a day, and then I call it good. I trade in the morning session, and then I go live to go over the price action, as it says right in the title of the video, right? And that's why my video is called Live Scalp Trading Strategy and Futures Price Action Breakdown, because most of what we're doing is going over the strategy and the breakdown. Make sense? And then we review in real time. If we get a really good setup, we can take one, but we'll see. I'm probably good on the day. It's December. Price action goes a little bit slow this time of year. And we've got the FOMC rate decision on Wednesday, so we could see some weirdness before that. Good morning, KP. Good to see you. Yeah, for sure, Nomad. So the way that I do it is, yeah, like some live streamers are trying to always be in a trade. That's not my style. I'm a scalper. So if you look here, here's all the trades I marked. So if you look, this one was pretty early, right after the open. This one was also a minute after the open. This one was about 17, 18 minutes after the open. This one was just under an hour, about 53 minutes after the open or so. And then this one just happened while I was not there, while I was going over the price action, when I was about to start the stream and I walked away. So I hadn't really had a chance to chart that yet. So yeah, so there's some spread out price action here, spread out setups. But hey, I'm glad you're here. Glad you're here, everybody. Welcome. If you got questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. I'll be right back. I'm going to get myself some water. All right, I'm back. Let's see here. Let's see. And as always, if you want to learn more about my strategy, if you want to do a free trial for the community, 7-day trial, it's all in the chat and the description. All the info's in there. We got free 7-day trials now. Newer features. Bunch of new stuff in the community. And it goes all the way back with all the price action reviews. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we do live streams just for the paid members of the community. And those are on Zoom, which is nice because we do like a call style. So people can unmute, talk to me, that sort of thing. We go over it's almost more of like more in-depth than what I do on YouTube. So I do the YouTube streams on Mondays and Fridays, but then I do the other ones on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That way we have price action review for every day. And then I don't leave all the streams up on YouTube. I remove them over time. So, but they're all available in there. So you can go all the way back to like, you know, around like over a year ago and see the price action reviews if you ever want to download data or whatever. Nomad, so you're waiting for a reversal with confirmation. Hey, well, at least you got 2 winning trades. That's cool. Too tired. Yeah, I wouldn't trade if I were you in that position. And I don't really think, like, it's not... This is a pretty steep move. I don't know if we're going to get a good reversal. We might not. You know, if you zoom out and look at where we are, we're still way above the lows that we were at last week. Like, if you go back and look at last week, we hit these levels down here a couple of times. We're not even at this level yet down here. So we could easily go down further before we reverse. I mean, overall, it would not surprise me to see us eventually reverse and close higher. Either higher on the day or somewhere in the middle. And continue this kind of like slow, grindy uptrend that we've been in. It would not surprise me. But I wouldn't be looking for a reversal necessarily. You got to wait. Because you're going to have to wait for it to make a new low first to really confirm a reversal. So we could range for a little while. Honestly, it's pretty boring price action, but that's just what it is sometimes, you know? Can't always get the best, especially this time of year. Just how it is. Hey, got a question for the stream, if anybody wants to participate real quick. So, if I'm wondering, I want to release a video for the YouTube channel, not one of my live streams, but just like a regular video, probably this week. So, are there any concepts that would help you that you've been wondering about in trading that you think would be, you know, good to hear about? I'd love to make a video that helps out the community. So let me know in the chat if there's anything that you want to, if there's anything that you want me to cover in my next trading video, let me know. Because mostly what I've been covering lately in my videos has been more stuff around like mindset and trading psychology, which I do like to talk about. But if there's anything else that you've been wondering about with regards to either price action or trading psychology or whatever, let me know, and I can maybe consider making a video about it. Always good to get feedback from the community, the people that are checking it out. I want to make sure I help everybody out as much as I can. All right, let's see here. I haven't been making nearly as many videos for YouTube as I used to, and that's because I do these streams every day with the community. So that's the more important thing, is going over the price action and strategy. That's the more important thing. And there's also a lot of stuff already on the channel that covers a lot of details. So that's the reasoning there. It is always good to do the psychology ones, but... Yeah, that's true. All right, so... KP, what I can say, since you're in the paid community, there's a ton of stuff in the course about second entries. And there's even master classes I did with the community about it that are in there, that are linked in the section on second entries. So definitely check those out, because I cover them a lot. There's a ton of stuff around that. And yes, there is nuance to it. I don't think I'll make a video about the nuance of it because I have so much in the course on that already. Jarvis, okay, breakout pullbacks. When do they come into play? When are we looking to trade them? Breakout pullbacks are the worst entry that we use. They qualify, but they're the worst entry that we have, I would say. So I cover that in the course a little bit. They're the least reliable setup that we trade. So when I trade a breakout pullback, I usually trade it because there's confluence with something else. Very rarely, it's very rare that I just take a breakout pullback as that on its own. Typically the way I'm going to take a breakout pullback is if it's like let's say it's a failed second entry long that's also a breakout pullback. Or it's a breakout pullback that's also some sort of second entry. Or it's a breakout pullback that's kind of like also a triple test. There's a lot, like I look for confluence if it's a breakout pullback. I don't typically just take a breakout pullback on its own. Or maybe it's like, maybe it breaks out, comes back, gives us a second entry long, and then a higher low that's a breakout pullback. You know, something like that. They're not super reliable. That's why you'll see whenever I mark them as trades, they almost always have something else with them. Like it's not usually just BP. It's usually TT and BP and you know, SEL, like SEL or 2EL, you know, that sort of stuff. It's one of these, right? It's one of these usually with it. It's very rare that you'll just see me mark just BP as a trade. And if you go back, you can confirm that. If you go back and look at the videos and stuff and screenshots, you'll very rarely see just BP on its own because they're not that great. So I don't even think we need a video on that either. Nomad, are you trading ES or are you trading NQ? I trade ES. Because 4 to 6 points is a fairly large profit to go for. If you're scalping at least. On ES. On NQ, it's basically, that's like the same as going. That's the same sort of target you're going to go for. As basically going for a small scalp on ES, but... Alright, so we're back down to this level here. So let's see what happens. I'm not going to draw this as a regular range. I'm just going to leave the blue lines here until it like starts to act like a range, because it could easily just keep going lower. Like it would really not surprise me for us to form like a whole new downtrend on a day like today. It would not surprise me. We could even draw it as a possibility. Now, I wouldn't really argue that this is in play at the moment, but we could draw it as a possibility. Oh, I see what you're saying, Nomad. Yeah, I do not go... I base my targets on the ATR, and then I leave a runner. So I scalp 80% of the position and then leave a runner. So I go for a much smaller target on my scalps. And then I leave a runner and hopefully get a big runner. That's the way I trade it, at least. But you can do different ways. You can do that with the strategy that I do as well. Go for a bigger target. The only problem is you'll have some losers if you do that when it goes in your favor just a little bit and not enough. But that has to do with the type of bars that I enter on and how I play it. Yeah, pretty much, Nomad. Pretty much. Like right now I'd be going for a little bit more than 1 point. Probably 5 ticks right now. 5 to 6 ticks depending on where we're at. But probably five ticks right now. I have a toolbar that I built that shows you. See this TP? 5 ticks. 5.7. There's no such thing as a decimal tick, but it tells you how close you are to changing your take profit to 6 ticks. It's based on the volatility. So I go for about half the ATR for my scalp. And that's because I enter on stop orders. So like if I was going short on this candle, I go short 1 tick below the bar. So it's already started to move. And I enter with the momentum. I don't enter on like a limit order way back here because I wait for a confirmation signal bar when I'm trading. So yeah, that's how I play it, at least. Try to enter with the momentum as a scalper. Oh no, I trade so I trade anywhere from like 5 to 10 minis. Sometimes I'll trade, there's been points where I trade more. I'll trade the most, I won't go above 20 contracts, and I haven't been trading 20 because it's just not the right conditions for that right now. But typically I'll trade like 5 to 10 contracts. So like for me, I don't need a big move to make a good amount of money, you see? If I was only trading 1 or 2, then yeah, I'd probably have to go for a bigger target or whatever. But in my strategy, you have to trade with at least 5 so that you can have a runner. Because you have to scalp 80%. So 4 of the contracts at least have to be scalped. And then you leave 1 runner. And then as you go up, you can still, you know, do it. Yeah, I mean, it depends on how you play it, right? And then there's a runner, right? So like, for example, this trade earlier, I took this trade earlier with only 5 contracts. And I made, I think it was 450 on that trade. And that's because I scalped, I'd have to go back and look, but I think I scalped for 6 ticks. It was either 5 or 6 ticks on 4 of the contracts. Then stop loss moved to break even. And then my runner got out way down here. So I think on the runner I made almost 5 points. I made 4.5 points on the runner on a single. So it you know, when you add the scalp plus the runner, it made like 450 or something like that in just that little single trade. On just 5 contracts. So if it was 10, it would have been like $900 on that trade. Something like that. And I think that's like after commissions or whatever. All right. Anybody got more questions? If you do, drop them in the chat. Yeah, I don't really, to be honest, here's the, yeah. All right, so I'll still do more psychology videos. I'll still do those. You'd have to go back and look. Occasionally, I do take a live trade on the stream. I just don't do it very often because a lot of times when I'm going live, I'm already done with my trading session, and there's not always the best setups. And then, in terms of like trades and like demonstrating the system and how it works, here I'll show you. So here's my school community, right? Here's my school community. And in my school community, you can see it here. This is where you end up if you click on it in the chat or the about. If you go into the classroom, this is the full course right here. In the course, like here's like a recording of some trades right here, right? This is a 10-minute video where I took 2 trades back to back. But in the course, in section 8 of the course, there's like a ton of examples of trades, right? Like it goes all the way down. All this, and I occasionally just add more to it over time when I feel like recording some of these. So there's a bunch of examples of how to do the strategy, all in here, all recorded. So it's covered a lot in my community. But that's never really been the goal of the YouTube channel. Like, I'm not really like a like a standard, like, quote unquote, like live trader or whatever. Like, that's not really, like, when I didn't even used to do live streams. I used to just do videos showing the breakdowns of the trades for the day. I started doing the live streams because I was getting a lot of questions. So it was really more of a way to do Q&A along with the breakdowns. But it was never really the goal to be like a live live trading streamer. It's too much pressure, to be honest. Like, the reality is it's extremely difficult to trade successfully. So trying to live trade while you're dealing, like trying to lock in and really like pick the right setups and like be aware of what you're doing, it's like it's extremely challenging already. So if you add a component of like being live and trying to talk through it and all that, it's like, yeah, it's just not it's extremely hard. Even when I'm recording the trades, like if I record a trade, typically what I have to do is record and then do a voiceover after, because it's a lot of times it's hard for me to even like talk through it while I'm doing it, because I'm trying to be super locked in to what I'm doing, because otherwise I could read the market wrong. So that's kind of how that goes. That's just me keeping it real with you. So really my goal is to teach the strategy so that you can learn how to do it as well. And that's the whole point of watching the price action together live, trying to talk through it. If I don't have the added pressure of taking the setup when we're live, I can just talk through it, show it. Sometimes when we're on these streams, I even point out, hey, there's going to be a second entry short forming here. It could be a good setup, blah, blah, blah. And even if I don't take it, sometimes people will take it on stream while it's setting up, and it does work. So the goal is just to show you how to look at things with the real-time price action, answer the questions, all that. But to become successful in this, you got to learn how to spot the stuff on your own. That's the whole point. We made a new low. All right. Anybody have any other questions, comments, anything like that? Nice. I appreciate that, Nomad. I appreciate you. You're saying a lot. Yeah, a lot of people want to post. What do you mean by that? I'm just curious what do you mean like by toxic videos? I'm curious what you mean and like what you're seeing out there. I don't really like I don't watch any other traders anymore. I don't need to. I don't want to. I used to watch Pat's, but I stopped a while back, and I just trade myself, do my own thing, and make my own videos, and that's it. I don't get distracted by any other strategies or anything. I don't watch anybody else's trading content. I just watch my own, or not watch my own. I just record my own. So I'm curious, like, what are you seeing out there that you mean when you say toxic? I'm just curious. But yeah, I think the psychology videos are helpful. So I'll keep making those. I'll keep making psychology videos. I already have some strategy videos on there. I already go over the price action strategy every day in these live stream, or every day in the live streams here and in my community. And then my entire strategy is taught in my school community. So I already have that mostly covered. Oh yeah, you're saying like just like recording a huge win and making a video about it or that sort of thing. Yeah, I used to record more trades and put them in videos, but I stopped doing it because I just felt like it's just like, I mean, I go over my losses, right? Like if I have a loss, I'll tell everybody on stream. What I do is like I put an arrow like this, and I point to the candle that I have a loss from, and then I go over it during the stream to explain why I had a loss. Because I want people to learn from wins and losses, right? But I will tell you, trading is a tough industry. People, you know, like I get people all the time who like leave me super toxic comments. It's like wild. Like even if I just make some like real chill like content about psychology, like it's pretty amazing how much toxic people show up in the comments and stuff. I try to mostly just ignore it, but there's a lot of like, unfortunately, there's a lot of toxic stuff in any sort of industry that's around making money, basically making money online or anything. There's always going to be people that show up and talk a bunch of trash and say a bunch of things. Like, dude, I've seen it. I've had so much of that over the years. Just what it is, unfortunately. No, I trade with my own cash account. We've had plenty of people in my community test out prop firms. I dabbled with it briefly. I found it to be hard. I found it to be harder to trade those because of the psychological aspects of it. So basically, I've talked about this a lot, so I won't go over it too much. But I'll tell you that I think psychologically, they make it worse for your trading. And the reason for that is that, well, actually, there's a lot of reasons that I don't like them. So, but I'll start with this reason. Psychologically, they're challenging because they force you to be focused on certain goals, how much money you need to make to get a payout, how much where your stop loss levels are, all this other stuff, right? Nomad, I'm in Oregon, West Coast, Oregon. So yeah, like basically the problem with these prop accounts is that I believe that to be effective in your trading, you need to be focused on the immediate present, and every trade needs to be seen as an opportunity, a new opportunity. If you're focused on the last trade or the next trade and not the current trade, then you're going to have problems. And the prop firms make you be in that mindset of focused on your next trade and your last trade and how much more room you have and all this other stuff. There's also a bunch of extra rules and layers. that you have to do, and they're not very conducive to certain scalp strategies, so that's also a problem. The other thing is, I believe that they try to push over leveraging. They allow you to over leverage, which I think is irresponsible. So I just don't really like them. So when I started trading in 2017, they weren't really a thing that anybody was using. So I just focused on, like, when I was in 2017, 2018, even 2019, nobody was really using those. I mean, literally the micro contracts weren't even out yet. I think the micro contracts came out in like 2019. So when I started trading, they didn't even have the micros. They only had the minis, and everybody just traded on cash accounts. And that's how I started. The prop thing became popular at some point, I think during the lockdown years. And then they became really popular as like trading TikToks got popular and all that stuff. And then they got popularized by a bunch of YouTubers. And I just, yeah, like, at one point, like early on, they approach me all the time. At one point, I did have like one affiliate link from one, because some people in my community were using it effectively, and I didn't have any problems with them. But then I removed it because I was like, I don't actually even want to encourage this behavior, because I don't think that it's actually good as a trader. So after testing it for a while, and that was before I had like my school community and all that, and I was just making videos for free back then. So it was just like a little tiny rev stream, and then I was like, I'm removing this because I don't want to even push this stuff. So I stopped having any affiliate links for it or any of that stuff. I only had one, but I removed it, and I basically was just like, yeah, I'm not really trying to push this. It's not my thing. I don't think it's actually the best way to learn trading. It can be useful if you're extremely disciplined, but most people aren't extremely disciplined. So yeah, so the only thing that I push is my own school community, and it's $99 a month. It has my course and everything else, and it has a 7-day free trial, and that's it. That's the only thing that I push. But I can tell you straight up, as a YouTuber, I get emails almost every day from prop firms that want me to push their stuff, and they'll pay me a lot of money to do it, but I'm not doing it. Nomad. Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I mean, the micros are really helpful for people, because when I started and there was no micros, it was hard to trade, right? You have a small account, you still have to trade a mini. I mean, that's hard. To be fair, back then, the volatility wasn't like... Well, I guess the volatility was still there, but it wasn't as crazy as now. I remember back when it used to be hard to get a 4-tick scalp. Now you can, like, be wrong sometimes and get a 4-tick scalp. Yeah, for sure. For sure. And listen, nothing against anybody using them. There's people in my school community, members who use them effectively, and they get payouts, and they're making money, and it's fine. I'm not saying that you can't do it. I just personally think that... that I don't think it's good overall for your psychology compared to just having your own account. Personally, I think the best approach is the approach that almost nobody will do, no matter how many times I say it, which is this. Open up a cash account, right? This is my approach. If I'm going to do that, if I was starting over right now, this is what I would do. I would open up a cash account on NinjaTrader. Because now NinjaTrader lets you use the platform for free. That's another thing. I had to buy the platform in the initial stages. They didn't allow it for free. So I'd open up a cash account on NinjaTrader so I could use their account for free. You don't get the best commission cost when you use the free, but that's okay. That's what I would do. I'd open up that account. I would only put a small amount of money in it, like $200. And then I would subscribe to the live data feed. It's $4 a month through NinjaTrader to have their top of book level 1 CME data, which is all we need for chart trading, because I don't trade on the DOM, so I don't need that. and I don't need the level 2 for order flow and all that because I don't trade that. So you only need the $4 a month subscription. Or you can do the $12 a month bundle if you want the other data feeds, like if you want like crude oil and all that. But I don't even trade any of that anymore. I just trade the ES. So I would just do that. And then they give you your, you can then trade live data with the simulator account. And they give you a demo account to do it. And so I would just trade on then I would just start trading on the demo account. And I would just trade on the demo account for like several months until I have proven for sure that I fully understand the strategy and that I have basically doubled or even tripled my demo account size. Once I've done that, then I would start trading with my cash account. That's how I would do it if I were to redo it now. If I were to like start over now, that's what I would do. I wouldn't mess with any of the prop stuff or any of that. I would just do what I just said. And if I had a really small account and I needed to start with micros, then I would do that, and I would just trade it on micros first and then switch to minis later. And I would probably do the thing that where you can plot the micro count on the mini chart so that I can look at the ES 2000 tick chart, but execute trades on the MES. That's how I would do it. And that would be it. Keep it simple. And that's how I would do it. And honestly, even if you didn't do that, you could still go and do that now. Like if you're not like achieving the results that you want, you could literally go and do that now. Yeah, so all right, so that's a good question, Nomad. So for NinjaTrader, it's $500 to enter one mini. So I think a minimum requirement is to have twice what it costs to enter the trade. So if you're taking a mini trade and you need 500 to enter, I think you need 1,000 of account balance to take the trade for one mini. That's a minimum requirement in my opinion. It's not the actual minimum requirement. It's just, in my opinion, it's a minimum. So typically you want to have at least $1,000 in your account for every mini that you're trading. And ideally you want more than that. Probably more like $1,500 per mini would be a safer bet. So if you have $1,500 in your account, you could trade one mini. If you have 3,000, you could trade two. Technically, you could trade three, but I'd say probably two. Err on the side of caution is always the best move. So, you know, you could do something like $1,000 to $1,500 per mini that you're trading in your account. That's basically how I'd look at it. Because if you think about it, like your stop loss is never going to be enough to completely liquidate your entire position, right? Like, let's say you trade with like, you know, let's say you have a 4-point stop loss on one mini. That's only a $200 loss, so you're fine. The problem though is if you take that loss, now you're going to be in a bad position. Yeah. The problem with the prop firms is they'll let you trade like 10 contracts when your stop loss is only like $2,500. Like, that's insane. You could end up like hitting your entire account balance in that. And if you're trading NQ, they'll let you trade with 10 NQ contracts with a $2,500 stop loss. You could get wiped out in one candle doing that. So the prop firms allow you to completely over leverage in a level that you wouldn't even be able to do. Like, imagine that on a cash account. If you only have $2,500 in your cash account, you literally wouldn't even be allowed to take a trade with more than a certain number. If you took, first of all, on ES, you wouldn't be able to take a trade with more than 4 contracts. And if you did that, you'd be getting liquidated pretty fast anyway, because you wouldn't only have $500 of leeway in there. So you'd get liquidated. But you wouldn't even be able to enter a trade with more than 4 contracts. If you had $2,500, it might allow you to enter the trade with 5 and then you'd immediately get liquidated. So that wouldn't happen. NQ is $1,000 to enter a contract on NinjaTrader. So if you're trading NQ with $2,500, you literally could only enter 2 contracts. So that is the crazy thing about these prop firms. They'll let you take a trade with 10, but you can only have a $2,500 stop loss. You need to think about the account as a $2,500 account. in that case. They try to trick you psychologically to thinking, oh, I have a $50,000 account. No, you don't. You have a $2,500 account. You don't have a $50,000 account. They're just allowing you to over leverage, which is a bad move. Yeah, exactly. No, man, that's how they make their money off of failures, not off of success. Some of them are more restrictive, I think, but it doesn't really matter. It's all still messing with psychology. They use all the same principles that casinos use. Yes, you could win it big, right? You could, but you probably won't. That's how that works. Casino will let you come in and bet your entire stack right in one bet, right? They'll let you do that. They don't like come in. A casino doesn't tell you proper risk management in gambling, which I don't know if there is a lot, but there's some, right? I know somebody who actually does, they're a professional at that, right? They're a professional at cards, and they use proper risk management. They use a lot of the same concepts that we use. They use proper strategies for how they do it. But casinos aren't going to tell that person when they come in, hey, listen, you're only allowed to bet this much. You're only allowed to do this, that, the other, because we need to protect your capital. Like, they don't do that. They let you come in and blow everything. And that's the same thing that the prop firms do. They don't try to protect you in any way. Yeah, I mean, that's just the way it is. It's a standard business model, right? It's a lame in a way. But you know, everybody has free will, so you decide if you want to go with it or not, right? That's the way this works. There's a second entry short here, by the way. I was like busy talking, so I wasn't really paying attention. There's a second entry short here. Back off of this level. We tried to fall back in and then failed out of it. It's a second entry short, lower high. It's not quite off of this level that I had drawn. I wouldn't take this because we did already get a new low, and we don't know for sure that we're not going to go higher there. So even though it looks good right now, I wouldn't be taking this second entry short. And the reason for that is that we already got the close outside and 2 legs to a new low. So we could be trying to go higher there. This flatter down channel was not really confirmed that it's going to definitely stay in play. So that's my take on that, just so everyone knows. All right, if we got any more questions, I'll answer those, but I'll be right back. So if you have questions, drop them in the chat real quick. I'll be right back. Hey, I'm back. I just got to check on something real quick. Something fell down in my snake's enclosure. I have a snake right here, and I just need to check on her real quick. All right, sorry about that. I had to check on, make sure that Alice was all good. My pet snake, Alice. Got a ball python. That's what's next to me. All right, so anybody, let's see. Anybody have any other questions, comments, anything they want to cover? Next live stream on YouTube will be on Friday at about 9 to maybe 9:05 a.m. Pacific. But of course, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week, I got live streams in my school community. That's in the chat or description. Yeah, that's what happened with my snake. My son wanted it, and then it became my pet instead of his. So that's how that went. He decided afterwards that he would rather have lizards, but I don't want lizards because they're way high maintenance. He wants like those bearded dragons, but they're just so high maintenance. You got to feed them like 3 times a day when they're young, and then like snakes are easy. All right, everyone. Got a short-term uptrend. This downtrend might get respected. We'll see if it continues. So just, you know, if a second entry short forms off the highs of the channel, that could be a decent setup. This thing could keep going lower. We still got room to those lows last week. Some of those like last swings last week. Oh, nice. That's cool. That's really cool. All right, I think I'm going to wrap up here, everybody. I've been at it for about an hour. So I will see a bunch of you tomorrow in the school community on the Zoom call. Everybody else that's just on the YouTube, I'll see you on Friday. But thanks for being here, everybody. Thanks for being here. I'll see what I can do to get a I'll do a psychology video. I'm going to do a psychology video soon, so I'll do one of those. And so look out for that in between. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate you.